Hi there, this is Junaid Islam, and I'm the Digital Trust Lead with the Smart City Council. And today, I'm having dinner with Mr. Corey Gray, who's going to talk all about smart cities around the world. How are things going, Corey?
Hey Junaid, great to be back in San Francisco for our Sunday dinner catch-ups for the second month in a row. Feeling a little bit like someone's looking over my shoulder with Alcatraz in the background, but it's good to be here again, and I'm looking forward to talk smart cities. We've just had a great week back in Australia. Thanks for joining us online for that. It was fantastic. I think we had about 1,500 people over 3 days who, like we said before, are smart cities people. It's not hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people like you see in some of the conferences around the world, but industry professionals from government, academia, NGOs and private sector who are really focused on all aspects of policy, technology, and action taking around smart cities. So it's been great.
Thing, Corey, I wanted to get from your perspective, and especially since you're here in San Francisco, is, with smart cities, we see so much hope around the world, but we're obviously seeing a lot of money being spent around the world, a lot of programs not meeting their objectives. A lot of the smart cities, including San Francisco, that has a lot of technology, increasing crime, increasing homelessness in the face of very advanced technology. As we walked here, there were autonomous taxis, the most advanced in the world, actually right outside. So there's a juxtaposition. So the question to ask is this really our fate? Are smart cities going to be better, or are smart cities going to be more fractured between the technologists and the people?
Junaid, I can highly recommend the crab cake at the Franciscan as an entree. What you said, leads me to think a whole lot of things. One of them is, firstly, I love coming to San Francisco. I'm here just about every month. I like catching up with you. I like it when the Warriors win. I liked it when Clay was on the team. But, I've been in 60-something cities around the world this year, and there's cities I love. San Francisco's one, Istanbul's another one. I love Paris. I love Barcelona. But there's Mumbai. But there's these cities that actually, Casablanca, crazy, right? Nuts, amazing. So there's always really brilliant things around them, and there's always areas to improve. If you look at San Francisco, you say it's a tech miracle. America's sort of four parts. You got New York with the investment bankers, you got the oil, you got entertainment and tech, and in the middle of America is the flyover, right? But within 100 miles of us are 60 people with more personal wealth that they've gained in their lifetime than 3.5 billion of the poorest people on the planet. So then you ask yourself the question, what's going on? How does that happen? Like, what policies let it happen? What social needs make it happen? And the biggest case in point for me about the dichotomy or the juxtaposition of San Francisco, I'm here last month. I'm walking down for dinner with Mark Verheyen, our Smart Cities technology lead guy, and on my left-hand side is a Waymo electric autonomous Jaguar, and in front of me is a guy in fentanyl licking the sidewalk, right, with his ass hanging out of his pants. And then you go, right, with Houston, we've got a problem, right? At the face value, you'd think we've got infinite means. This is a city full of art, culture, steeped in history, incredible access to money, technology, probably literally unparalleled in the world, and yet we can't solve a problem like that. So on the one side, you've got this amazing city that everyone can see out here right now, but like all of us, we're not perfect. So how do we create the next level of transformation and improvement?
So, Corey, we've talked about, you've kind of mentioned all the places you've traveled, and thanks for saying you love San Francisco. It's a great
I'm
place.
Not even lying, Junaid.
That's right. And I guess the question is, these large cities, San Francisco, Istanbul, you mentioned, highly complex. How do you pull together all the expertise? Because, as I look at these cities, we've got everything going on. You've got educational issues, homeless issues, you've got technology issues, you've got finance issues where the citizens are paying through direct taxes and bonds. I mean, the thing that gets me about smart cities is the complexity of them is way beyond anything that we've ever tackled before. Certainly.
So the thing about cities is they're infinitely complex. Just like think about one person you know, how complex that person is, and then make millions of them, and then put them all together, all with competing needs and wants and aspirations and all of that, right? And religions and all of that stuff. So when you start to try and, let's call it, solve the problem or capture the opportunity of a city, technology won't do that by itself. All the data in the world won't do that by itself. You need a common will of the people. I was talking a few days ago about the narrative of a city, right? We talk about culture in a few different contexts. One of them is social context of culture. If you're in Barcelona, people eat certain food. They walk a certain way. They build architecture a certain way. This is the non-cognitive process of alignment of the community, right? So cities have that. If you travel around the world and you go from Marrakesh to Singapore to San Francisco to Warsaw to Copenhagen to London to Paris to Rome, you see a lot of different stuff, right? And with all the power and all the capacity and all the money in the world, things don't change unless the people want it to change, right? So really, we should be considered a behavioural science organisation, not a technology and data organisation, because what we're trying to do is motivate and educate and inspire people to make a better world for themselves. There's enormous and infinite amount of tools, but we need that narrative with the people who live in the places to fully coherently understand that they're aligned and to create a common objective. So that's, that means policy, it means technology, it means legislation, it means processes, procedures, it means art, it means music. It means so much more than just, if we get enough data in one place, that we're going to solve everyone's problems with AI or digital twins or distributed ledger technology or whatever. If I hear one more time 5G is a solution, I'll go crazy, right? Solution to what? But everyone thinks, at the moment, yesterday, 2 days ago, I'm talking with the mayor of Dakar in Senegal, right? Their social issues couldn't be more stark than those of San Francisco. But the principles that we're bringing are the same. People need to be safe. People need to be housed. People need education. People need healthcare. These things don't change, right? These things are just consistent.
For those of you wondering, we really are having our dinner.
We are having our dinner. A little bit of chowder. You can't come here and not have chowder. And then a bit of calamari. But you know what I mean? The guiding principles are the same. Absolutely, unwaveringly the same. And we've tried to capture it in our mission statement about safer, more enabled, equitable, resilient, sustainable planet for everyone. No exclusions. It's not that if you get to a point, you get sort of forgotten or euthanized or, sent somewhere horrible, never to be seen again. Like, how do we elevate humanity?
Yeah.
This is the actual question, not how do we monetize data more or technology and get people to buy stuff. That's not a solution to any problem. And the people who stand to make that money already have more money than they could spend in millennia.
Corey, as you're describing all the things that make a city great, the education, the art, understanding the citizens' needs, but also understanding AI and 5G, I think that seems really complicated. And I mean, the thing that strikes me, given the fact that you travel so much, is would it be correct to say that you really need to understand all these issues pretty well? The people, the education, but also AI. And would you say that's kind of correct? I mean, what's your? It seems that's
So like we said before, like cities are infinitely complex. Governments are duty bound to be abreast of the issues facing their citizens. That's why we elect them, to look after our interests, right? This is the whole purpose of government. So we want our governments to be proactive and innovative, but we don't want them to be profligate as well. So it's easy to knock governments all the time, but the reality of government is you don't want someone to take all your money and bet it on green on the roulette wheel, but you don't want them to miss an opportunity either. So when new technologies come around, and if you look at the rate, for example, that AI has just escalated in the public consciousness, like most technologies, like nuclear and like genetic mapping, like the internet, it's hard for governments to keep up in a regulatory and legislative way, and more importantly, in an ethical way, because all of these things end up having an architecture of ethics over the top of them. So, we've just appointed a thought leader equivalent to you in ethics, literally interested in what is the appropriate application of regulations and technologies for the people of the world. Now, and that's not about being right. It's not a holy text where that's it and it's written. It's a consultative process with citizens. And that comes back to the idea of urban narrative, which is another person we've just put on as one of our global thought leaders, Joe Appleton, to join Vitor Pereira, is that thing that we were talking about before, how the cities need to know their story, and that culture is the subconscious coming together of a city around things. It doesn't mean we all eat the same food or pray to the same God, but it means there's a certain set of principles that binds us together in our common interests that are from outside visual. And, we see them in architecture, we see them in art, we see them in dancing, music, the way people pay. You have a tipping system that's nuts, right? No one should ever have tipping. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it makes sense in America. That's part of the culture of America, right? So that's what we've got to get our head around, not just tech. Tech's a critical part of it, but understanding cultural difference. America, like my country, is a melting pot of migrants, right? With indigenous people and the complex history of slavery, which my country disgustingly tried to get around through the Indentured Labour Act, which effectively legalised enslaving people and promising to pay them but never paying. All of this is horrible and complex, but that's part of our history. And one thing we need to do is acknowledge that as well as part of our urban narrative. In Ireland, we have an office in Dublin. The history of the Irish and the British is complex. The history of the Catalans and the rest of Spain is complex. The Quebecois and the British part of Canada is complex. The South and the North of America it's all complex, right? North Africa, Central French-speaking Africa, South Africa, it's all complex. So we need to understand and synthesize the challenges, and then say, right, what tools have I got to solve that problem or find an opportunity? So this is why I'm super enthusiastic about what we're doing as an organisation. Is I think we're starting to ask those difficult questions, not just say, hey, look at my digital twin, or I've got a faster AI processor than, like, for what? What are you trying to do? Let's understand the questions and the opportunities, then have a discussion.
Corey, you've covered a lot of ground here in terms of the complexity, the need to really look at all stakeholders. But what's the one thing that you'd really want people to take away from our short dinner video?
So, for me, the wrap-up is it's super complex. We need everyone working together. We need better capabilities, capacities. The working together is the collaboration we talk about, but it's got to be cross-sector. Too often you've got industry here coming up with an idea, government wanting to buy a rainbow-coloured flying unicorn, a whole disconnect, right? And then we need the people with the skills to deliver on that. Education and training's never changed so much. So, as an organisation, we're really focused on, we've got a program of events coming up with OECD, FIWARE, British Standards, a lot of stuff going on that is designed to create those important artefacts of collaboration and knowledge sharing, and to bring people together with a focus that is on that place-centric, human-centric outcome. So for me, again, it's really exciting that we've just pivoted that narrative to be all inclusive, not just all tech or all policy, but bringing it together to focus on that action and outcome. So I'm excited with what we've got coming up.
For coming all the way to San Francisco. Thanks for having dinner. For those of you watching, please do join the Smart City Council. We are a fantastic organization of great people and led by Corey, who really care about people around the world.